So, one of my experiences of having a Mercury in Pisces is this constant feeling of, oh my God, what did I say? Did I say too much? Did I say too little? Did I say the wrong thing? And sitting with it and analyzing what was said for days at a time and feeling incredibly frustrated at the fact that I cannot change time and I just have to sit with the fact of what was said. Except for the context of being a YouTube creator. I control what was said, what has been said. Well, I can't change what has been said. I guess I could delete what has been said. That's not the point. The point here is, this is the video that I wish that I had made last week. This is what I wish I would have said. A Pisces Mercury story, starring Hi, it's your friendo, the Lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins, and I am an artist, an astrologer, and yes, a person with a debilitated Mercury placement. That is Mercury in its fall in Pisces, and it's quite the experience. But what this video is really about is the experience of looking at all of the so-called debilitated planets and understanding that they are not a place of disability, but rather an attempt at figuring out accommodations. And I am, in fact, using the language of disability, justice, culture, and history to talk about debilitated planets because I really feel like there are crossovers. Now, mind you, I am not the first one to make this point about debility and disability. The most recent astrologer that I saw made this point was It's K Darling of Cosmic Healing Fam. K Darling has this amazing presentation called, I believe, Debility Justice, where they look at the intersections of astrology, disability justice, through the lens of debilitated planets, planets in exile, planets in their fall. Yeah, as it relates to my specific Mercury placement, all week since I made that last video, I've been sitting around telling myself, ooh, I wish I had said that. Ooh, I wish I had said this. Ooh, I wish that I had explained this particular concept in this particular way that I feel like would have been more legible somehow. And yeah, I have been moaning the frustrations of what wasn't said, instead of realizing the unique way in which I could accommodate my Mercury placement and my nervous system by telling myself that I get to be messy. I get to present information and then come back and edit that information. I get to come back and create addendums to that information. I get to be wrong in front of you all. I get to hear your generosity of gentle pushback and get to respond to that. Yeah, I don't have to have it figured out all at one go. I don't have to know everything. I don't have to be perfect. And that is the language of white supremacy that I refuse to internalize. So yeah, I very much wanted to talk about debilitated placements through that kind of lens. And I don't think that I did a great job of talking about it last week. So, you know, here are some points that I wish I had made. So, point number one, my own experience of both disability and of having debilitated planets in my chart. So I often share this fact in my social media bios, but I refer to myself as Black, Queer, and Autistic. My experience of autism is having a different than neurotypical brain map and language and way that I intellectually process the world around me. That processing in a different way is markedly different, but also not pathological and not something that I need the medical industrial complex to fix for me. I'm talking about being an autistic person in the world. I'm strictly talking about the unique and special and amazing to me ways in which my brain works. But I have noticed that when I talk about it in a public context, there's a lot of people's pathological lens being put on me. So a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to try and remember to put the chart that I'm referencing in here as a visual aid. So this is my cue to do that. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the idea of planetary dignity as one of the tools that we can use in our tool chest to understand, hey, there's all of these planetary placements in my chart. How should I be weighting them? Who gets the most influence? Is it my chart ruler? Is it the planet that's most aspected in my chart? Do I pay more attention to planets that are found in a stellium? And one of the tools that I brought up to think about planetary weight and how you might look at all of the planets in your chart is the tool of looking at planetary dignity. If a planet is at home, perhaps we should give it a little bit more weight in the chart as we are interpreting all of the ways in which all of these planets are interacting with each other. But where I lost myself was following the line of logic of, okay, if a planet is at home, then it perhaps should have more weight. Okay, if a planet is in its exaltation, does that have the most weight? And then if a planet is experiencing the opposite of those situations in terms of being in its fall or in its detriment, does that mean that it has less weight? That was something that sort of clicked for me as, oh, I don't know that I necessarily believe that that is to be true. And then the other part that clicked for me was the part that I had been saying in terms of explanation of the sort of 4 categories of dignity: domicile, debility, exaltation, fall. I had been explaining each one of these states that a planet could find itself in by saying, yeah, when a planet is in a place where it feels like it's at home or an honored guest, it can do its job most efficiently. And that's the sentence that I had been repeating. And one day I just repeated it and I was like, that is not in alignment with my values, specifically my anti-capitalist values, because I don't believe that planets have jobs. I believe that they have medicine and lessons that they can teach us, but job, we don't like that language. And then the other part was the efficiency piece. And that's what really clued me into, is this actually a sentiment that I believe in? Because when I think about efficiency, I think about doing the job in as quick of a manner. And quick is not something that I value at all. And as consistent of a manner, and consistently doing things exactly the same is also not part of my value system. And I think when I think about the word efficiency, I think about the intersection of a number of values that just really don't have anything to do with what I actually believe about the world. The emphasis on quickness, the emphasis on sameness and repetition, being able to duplicate results exactly the exact same way over time. None of those things are values that I actually espouse or live by. And yeah, that was kind of a clue into me, like, oh, yeah, this whole way of describing the planets in this way, it's not working for me anymore. If my version of disability justice assumes that different neurotypes, different body types, and differences that we're born with and the ones that we acquire along the way, because we're all invariably headed to some form of disability, that version of disability is just about the diversity of human brain maps and ways of being, then why is planetary debility not considered in the exact same light? And if planetary debility is just part of the diversity of states that we can find a planet in, then I want to look at each one of those states so that I can understand the signs more clearly. This is definitely where I'm going to put up that chart. So let's look at the first planet, the sun being at home in Leo, in detriment in Aquarius, in exaltation in Aries, and in its fall in Libra. So in the past, I would have said some version of the sun's job is to help us find the places where we can shine. And so we expect that the sun in its domicile sign of Leo is going to be perfectly comfortable and adept at shining, drawing the spotlight, but also like sharing the spotlight and comforting those around it. There's also the idea that the sun would be exalted in Aries. And what I know about Aries energy is that it's very me first, very excited, childish, impetuous kind of energy. And then what am I to understand about the sun and its purpose, its job, based on understanding exaltation in Aries? Is the sun supposed to be helping us to center ourselves and become the main characters of our own lives? Okay, fine. That sounds like a theory I could work with. And then we look at the sun in its detriment in Aquarius and in its fall in Libra. So what I know about Aquarius, it's a sign that's focused on the betterment of humanity as a whole, how it feels about individual people, but humanity as a whole, incredibly dedicated and loyal, fixed energy on understanding solutions at a humanity-based level. Sun being in its fall in Libra. Well, when I think about Libra, I think about individual relationships and how often Libra is looking for the peace of not only itself, but to protect the peace of people it sees itself aligned with, and how much it learns about itself through being mirrored by other people. If I were to look at these 4 signs through the lens of them being somehow pathological or debilitated, I would think, oh yes, I absolutely understand why the sun is in detriment in Aquarius and in fall in Libra, because the sun is about individual shining, not shining on the group. So sun in Aquarius and sun in Libra are doing the job wrong. But I want to expand this definition of what detriment can be based on a disability justice model, because what if detriment again was about the unique way of doing sun related stuff? Whatever the planetary medicine or lesson is, it still is expressed, but in this incredibly unique way. What if sun in Aquarius is somehow about understanding the ways that entire communities can shine? Not to sound cheesy, but when we work together, could that be a thing? What if the sun in Libra is the specific medicine of understanding that I am able to aspire to what I desire because I support what it is that you desire, and that we are in a reciprocal relation of supporting each other through our achievements? Those are certainly some really unique ways to approach the medicine of what the sun is encouraging for us. And if those are the incredibly unique ways in which the sun plays out its medicine in these different signs, then also what can be said about the ways that the sun in uncomfortable signs in detriment, plays out not only in a unique way, but in a way that it teaches us how to accommodate ourselves. For example, going back to the example of sun in Libra. Sun in Libra might not be adept at commanding, demanding, standing in the spotlight, but it is adept at shining a light on others. And if Libra is all about relationships and connections, then what would it mean to partner with, friend with, business partner with, connect with any one-on-one sort of person who can help you to shine, who can help to affirm you when you need it? So sun in Leo, we have the medicine of understanding where the spotlight is and how to shine on your own. But sun in Libra, we have the medicine of knowing that when we shine together, we shine brighter. Sun in Aquarius, we have the medicine of knowing that working together is its own reward and makes you shine inside. And I'll also look at the example of Mercury in this video as well, because it's how I got started thinking about this whole thing. I said this in the last video, but shout out to Finesse, who is an astrology creator here on YouTube that I used to follow. And it was, about the time where I was thinking about, oh, do I want to try to become a YouTuber? And I looked at my astrology and all I could see was my Pisces Mercury. And I thought, oh, I don't know. That doesn't seem like I'll be able to do it. And I came across one of Finesse's videos, and he talked about all of the Mercury placements and specifically his own Pisces Mercury. And this was a person that I saw as having a great deal of success on YouTube, and they had a Pisces Mercury like me, and I thought, okay, perhaps it's possible. And ever since then, I've been thinking about how I almost didn't have this opportunity because I was buying into pathological ideas about what planets in their debilitation could be like. Because, Lord, my Pisces Mercury in real life, it gives me such an issue. Or rather, people's perceptions of what communication could be like is not broad enough for me. Y'all don't do enough. I do too much, but y'all don't do enough. Anyway, Pisces Mercury, or Mercury just generally speaking. Mercury finds its home in the signs of Gemini and Virgo. What does this teach me about the qualities of Mercury? Because Gemini is a mutable air sign, I very much think about its following the flow of curiosity kind of nature. All right, that vibes with what I know about Mercury. And then Mercury in its exaltation being in Virgo. Well, what I know about Virgo is that it applies information to make things better for itself and the people around it. This is very much like practical solutions kind of energy. Okay, so I get that Mercury is about not only information, but practical solutions. Now, how does this play out in the opposite signs? Mercury in Sagittarius, so Mercury in its debilitation, or Mercury in Pisces, Mercury in its fall. So when I think about the Sagittarian nature of Mercury, I think about how Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion. And perhaps Mercury is not so much about creating synthesis from this information, or creating these great worldview or philosophy kinds of meanings out of things, but perhaps Mercury is more focused on practical information and practical application of information rather than world building. But that does also tell me that a Mercury in Sagittarius is a very expansive placement. And so what if it is doing the job of Mercury in a much more broad and expansive context? That Mercury in Sagittarius is the unique take of understanding information through understanding systems rather than these individual data points. And speaking of expansion, Pisces is also ruled by Jupiter and ruled by the modern planet of Neptune. Both are planets that are very much associated with expansion of ideas and also connection without boundaries amongst people. So even as much as Mercury's home is in air and an air sign, Mercury is not excited about the type of flow, mutability, openness that leads to that type of infinite spiritual connection. It seems to be that Mercury is more about mundane earthside physical information than full systems of belief or the ways that there is a universal or metaphysical body of information. But if you do need that kind of information, may I suggest pursuing someone who has a Mercury in Pisces or Mercury in Sagittarius. These people have learned the wisdom of how to embrace and accommodate a nervous system, a way of thinking that is outside of the societal norms that we have set. And a lot of those societal norms are based on systems of power that we don't necessarily care to have power anymore anyway. So why not let these languages and these ways of being fall away from us? Sagittarius rising, Pisces Mercury, you're never going to get me to shut up about this. So yes, I very much encourage people with planets that are in debilitation or in fall to really look at those planets as lessons or medicines about the ways in which you have accommodated yourself in that particular area of life, and then what wisdoms you have to share about that journey to accommodating yourself and journey to embracing your uniqueness and authenticity that we could learn from. So in true Pisces Mercury fashion, I think that everybody's experiences of learning should be shared, because how much could we learn if we weren't each all trying to reinvent the wheel, and instead listen to the wisdom of other people's invention of the wheel? So yeah, Moon in Capricorn, Moon in Scorpio, friends. Mercury in Sagittarius, Pisces, friends. Venus in Scorpio or Aries or Virgo, friends. Mars in Libra, Taurus, or Cancer, friends. Jupiter in Gemini, Virgo, or Capricorn, friends. Saturn in Cancer, Leo, Aries. Uranus in Leo or Taurus. Neptune in Virgo or Capricorn. And Pisces, or Pluto in Taurus or Aquarius. Have you been so blessed as to have one of these disabled planetary placements? And if you do, well, congratulations, and be sure to share your wisdom with the world. How did you learn to uniquely accommodate yourself? Anyway, child, I just be talking. This is the stuff that I think about. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night, but in the best ways possible, because I love doing this work. And if you want to support me in continuing to do this work, please consider becoming a channel member. Membership in my channel starts at $3.99 a month. You get really cool perks like custom emojis and loyalty badges. You get to see all of my videos the day before they are published. And there's also special members only videos as well. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really hope that you join the Cosmic Cuties, because yes, you'd be enjoying some amazing exclusive astrology content, but you'd also be supporting your favorite Black queer autistic astrologer. If membership feels like it's outside your capacity right now, I totally understand, and would encourage you to do a one-time gift, like a kind of tip, using that thanks button below. And if neither one of those financial sorts of supports is available to you right now, please just comment on this video, just like this video, share it to your friends, family, tell people about me, spread my lore. Yeah, that also counts as support in being in community with me as well. And I sincerely appreciate it. Just like I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you for having my back. And of course, thank you for making time for queer astrology. Bye, y'all. Bye.